So, ever have one of those days where you have like one thing you want to get done, and then you have all kinds of other things that you need to get done throughout the day or want to get done, and then one thing takes you off target, and the rest of the day kind of goes usually sideways and not in a good way? Well, yesterday was one of those days, but it went sideways in a good way. And I started out, I was just going to go pick up these wheels and tires from a Facebook Marketplace post and get back here and get back to work. And I was possibly going to stop by the junkyard I go to just to do a walkthrough, because that was like over an hour and a half away from my house. So I was going to make the best of it and just do a quick walkthrough. So anyway, let's talk about these deals. 15 by 8 aftermarket rallies, 5 by 4 and 3/4 bolt pattern, 5 by 4.5 bolt pattern. Good neutral offset, and they're brand new. They've never had a center cap snapped on them. They've never had a trim ring snapped on them. Tires are brand new, and three of them have a little bit of dry rot in the back right near the bead. I'll show that to you. $150 for the set of 4. That's probably more than the price of one of these rims are. But you can see, like, they've never had a center cap snapped on them. They've never had a trim ring snapped on them. And I don't even know if they've been driven on. Like, you can still see the marks from all the whiskers. Like, this thing was probably driven around a parking lot. And that's it. And then backside, you can see a little bit of dry rot right along that inner bead. I think one of the other ones is a little bit worse than this. So anyway, that was a smoking deal to start the day. I was thrilled with this. I messaged the guy a week ago, and he wasn't going to be around. So I said, as soon as you're around, I'll come running. He had a million people messaging him. He still waited, he still held me first. So as soon as he got back, he messaged me, and I went out that following morning, which was yesterday, and picked him up. So $150. That's a smoking deal just for the rims. Even if the tires are just rollers, that's still a phenomenal deal. 4 matching tires with white letters. That's an inspiring set of wheels to put on a project while you're messing around, check fitment and all that type of stuff. So anyway, my day went sideways before I even got to this guy's house. Before I got to his house, I saw a square body hood on the side of the road for sale, and he had some tires there next to it. So I was like, okay, let me go meet this guy. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to stop at that other place. So the guy had 3 of the 15 by 8 square body rally wheels that are 5 by 5 bolt patterns. Those are the wheels that I want to put on the Caddy, the 60 Caddy, because I got the old school hubcaps and they need a deeper dish rim for those to snap into, and eventually I can put wider tires on those, and it brings them more out towards the face of the fender and quarter and stuff like that, which I like that look better. Now, I'm also going to need tires for it because the white walls that are on it are super dry rotted and they're way undersized. So I stopped at the junkyard. When I stopped at the junkyard, one of the things I found was a set of white wall tires. So, smoking deal. I'll cover those in the other video. And yeah, those will be covered in the junkyard part of the video. So we'll go into detail with that. But also, the guy that had the square body stuff, right beside that, he had one of these. He had this. That's a base plate mounted swing crane. So it's just missing the hydraulic ram, which I could just take the one off my engine lift and put on it when I need it if I wanted. $40 the best offer. Double extending boom. It's got the base plate and it's in great shape. Why do I need one of those, you say? My initial thought was a while back, the basement's huge, so I may want to put a motor down there or whatever over the years, store something out of the way that's safe, out of the elements and all that stuff. You know, even just, set of wheels, I could put them on a pallet, put them down there, one thing. So I want to pour a pad next to the bulkhead for the basement and mount one of these cranes and have that set up so I can just hook up to it, swing it over the bulkhead and let it down in, or pull something over and pick it up, swing it out, and it'll be right near the side door to the garage. So that'll be perfect. That's what I was going to be looking for eventually. I wasn't looking for it right now, but it's not going to be in the way. I'll find a place to stash it. Thrilled to have it. I got it for $30. Come on. And like I said, I can just swap the piston from my engine lift onto that. So anyway, we will get to the junkyard video, and the junkyard video took longer than I thought, the walkthrough and all that stuff. And then after the junkyard video, stay tuned, because I stopped on the way home also and made another score that I wasn't expecting to get. So yesterday was one of those days that just kind of went sideways in a positive way. So if you guys want to just kind of stay with the video, here it comes. All right, so over at the junkyard today, and just doing a walkthrough. I'm not in this part of town very often anymore, this part of the state rather, but just wanted to do a walkthrough. And one thing I wanted to cover is these C4 Corvettes. Is a lot of people change the front and rear axle assemblies, all the suspension and stuff, into some hot rods and stuff like that, like I did in 57. And not too many people think about the brakes, but this one's an 84. The one I took apart was an 87. 87 had a plastic booster, which I used in the 57. This one apparently has a steel booster, which is even better. So if you have to modify things, you know, it might be a little bit easier than dealing with plastic. But the thing I wanted to cover is the brake master cylinder, because if you're going to run these brakes front and rear, I don't think these master cylinders are available to remand. I don't think so. You'd be stuck finding a used one. But the proportion valve is internal. So if you look, there's the main part of the master, and then over here you got the proportion valve, and here's your typical brake switch. So if the shuttle valve moves, it triggers the light, and you just got your front and rear lines coming right off of that. So it splits the fronts and one solid one out the back to the rear, and two separate reservoirs. So if you lose one line, you'll never lose both fluids. And the booster is pretty small. Like, I'm 6'3", so I got a pretty big hand, but that's about how big it is. But just something to keep in mind if you're running those suspensions. Maybe you can score the master and the booster off of it and use both of them. If nothing else, maybe you can use the master, then you don't have to have a separate proportion valve with lines from the master to the proportion valve, and then out of there, cut down on a lot of fittings. See if we see anything else cool here. Alright, so over at the junkyard, and figured I'd cover this one in case I end up posting it. But I've always heard about these, and I've seen a couple driving down the highway and seen the back end on these Chevy trucks. But this flared bed means that it's full-wheel steering. So if you ever needed a steering axle, or you want to make a four-wheel steer full-size Chevy truck, you could definitely build one out of these, because it's got the center pinion, so you can use it for the rear. Whereas like if you got a solid front axle and you wanted to put it in the rear, the pinion would be way offset to one side. But check it out in person. It's got some pretty serious stops you'd have to grind out of the way, and you'd probably have to change the axle design to make it turn further. But there she is. The rear diff cover is the rack and pinion housing over there, and it's got some sort of kingpin style ball joint probably in there, and you can see these are the stops there and there, so it can't turn too far before those bang into it. And it's got an axle in there that doesn't have the conventional U-joint or a conventional CV shaft. But disc brake, half-ton, 6-lug. But you could take off the diff cover and put in a conventional hydraulic steering to make a four-wheel steering setup. Cut these pins and change out that axle shaft end. But that's what I've seen driving down the highway once in a while, and I always wanted to see one in person. Pretty cool. And you can still find some vintage stuff out there. A CJ7. So CJ7, what's the latest this can be? 86, I believe. And this thing has a substantial rough country lift in it. That looks like it's in really good shape. So I'm probably going to send this little video to one of my buddies and see if he knows anybody that needs one. But yeah, this is sitting on the axles. That's a substantial clearance. I mean, that's a lot of clearance there to there, and it's sitting on the weight. It's not on anything. But those springs look good shape. The shocks ain't all super rusty. I mean, the Jeep is super rusty. I mean, this thing has full diamond plate. I've never seen this much diamond plate on a Jeep. And front, same thing. These springs all look good. Shocks look decent. And it's got the drop pitman arm on it still. Yeah. Even has an add-on steering damper, aftermarket one. There we go. Probably even the extended brake hoses, maybe. Alright, so I'm over my favorite junkyard. All nicely organized. Tires everywhere. These are full sets. Those are sets with rims. These are all individuals. These are all pairs. Everything's all organized. And it's always worth checking because 185 bucks. Set of 4. Haven't even been cleaned yet. 225, 75, 15s. Outside of the dirt on them. Perfect trade. All 4 matching. Can't go wrong. Love this place. Everett's Auto Parts, Brockton, Massachusetts. Another cool thing about this place, all wheelbarrows that you can just grab and use. And then this side, you can leave your license. You can grab a wheelbarrow with a jack and a jack stand. Get a bunch of them. How awesome is that? And just cashed out with my tires. And out here, I said, Everett's Auto Parts, Brockton, Massachusetts. And they've always been the most organized one around. But tell me, is this common for junkyards in your area, where they give you a full map of the whole yard, and on the back they give you prices? So self-serve prices and whatnot. Their prices have gone up substantially recently, but that's where we're at. I mean, some things, let's see, tailgate, $100. Tailgate SUV, $125. You know, like decent prices on some stuff. Headlamp assembly, $45. Hood, $100 and whatnot. And then I just totally forgot, and so I ran back in because I need a battery for the car trailer I just got, and I need a battery for the Fleet line because I think I'm going to try and take that drag racing. And their batteries are, they have ones with a year warranty where it's like 20 bucks more, but they're 45 bucks and $10 core if you don't have the core with you, which I didn't bring any cores with me because I wasn't even thinking about it. But this is a battery from Walmart. It was produced 10/25. Right now we're in May of 26, so it's 7 months old from production, so could be 5 or 6 months in use. And it's the Everstart Max, which I think is the best one. And then we got another one over there. That one was one of 23, so that one is 3 years old, and that's the Platinum. That, I think that's the mid-grade, but it's an AGM, 1,000 cold cranking amps. I mean 1,000 cranking amps, 800 cold cranking amps. This one is 860 cranking amps, 700 cold cranking amps. So they're decent batteries, and you ain't gonna beat it, because this one here, I bet you that one's 240 bucks at Walmart, and this one is probably about 185, I bet. And I got them for 55 bucks each because I didn't have the cores with me, which I can bring the cores back and get 20 bucks back if I'm out in this area again. Throw a couple of the cores I have in there and bring them back. But anyway, this is one of my longtime favorite junkyards. They've always had the convenient pick and pull. You just walk out there and you find what you want. You can ask them cross references and stuff. They don't know the stocking of this part of the yard very well, because the yard they keep track of is the other side, and that's like a lot of the very newer stuff and whatnot that they're dealing with body shops and insurance companies and stuff like that with, that they pull the parts themselves. So a lot of the times they can't tell you exactly what's out in the yard, but with the map showing you where it's at, you can find out right where it's at. You don't have to wander around and see if there's a Chevy over here and one over there and one mixed in with the Toyotas. It's very organized, and they're always pleasant to deal with at the counter, very knowledgeable, and is what it is. So anyway, let me know how the junkyards are out your way, if they're this organized or not. I probably should have did a walk around of the yard itself. Hang tight, I'm gonna return the wheelbarrow and see if I can get a little bit walk around video. And we're back inside. I won't do a full walk around, just kind of get you an idea, because I saw the map with all the numbers on it where everything is. If you look, there's numbers. The 5, 4, 9 way out there, 3, 8, 7, 2, 1. So all the areas are labeled clearly, all perfectly walkable paths around everything. Everything's organized reasonably well. And then over this side, they'll typically have some of the older truck beds laid out if anybody needs any. And then they'll have the toolboxes, the ladder racks and stuff like that. And right now they have a bunch of scooters and motorcycles laid out here. A lot of them are priced, you know, like 500, 400, stuff like that, which 250 and whatnot. So you never know, you might find a score in here. And then this corner over here, they usually have 1 or 2 old cars. Looks like we got an old Triumph over here. But yeah, everything's, you know, reasonably organized and clean and nice. And they even have full bathrooms, like actual bathrooms with a sink and well, the men's side anyway, urinal, toilet, stall and whatnot, so you're not in a porta potty baking in the sun like you used to do. And then they have outside wash station here where you can clean up, and then you have used antifreeze you can come and get, and I think it's free. And then all this area is all concrete where they have all the wheels. So I'll just do a walkthrough of some of the prices on the wheel sets, and that'll be about it. Let's see. So some Jeep wheels with decent tread on them, $500. How's it going?
How you doing?
Doing well. How are you? Well, it looks like they're on average 500, 400, whatnot. And there's the big map of the yard showing where everything is. There's the call button to ask if you can grab one of the wheelbarrows with the jacks. Oh look, we get some torque thrust style for the Mustangs, $500. And $500 nowadays for a set of wheels and tires. That's Jeep wheels and tires. Decent tread on all of them. Definitely can't go wrong with that. That's 20-inch 5-on-5 bolt pattern. Got some aftermarket ones with decent tread, $500. $600 for the big knobby guys. And we got some others here, 175, 250, 185. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and tell me, is your junkyard this good? Is your junkyard a dump, or is your yard 10 times better than this one? Around here we have a lot. This place is exceptional. The place literally 2 doors down is the worst place on the planet. You just don't want to go there. I used to go there once in a while when I couldn't find what I needed here. Now I don't even bother checking. People are terrible. The yard is a death trap, and it's an environmental disaster over there. So anyway, well, thanks for stopping in and watching, and give me a feedback on this one. Curious what you guys think. You thought we were done. No, we're not done yet. Left there, I was on the phone with my brother and ended up sitting there for a minute while I was going into the store to grab a snack. And so talking to him, and I'm just scrolling Facebook, and you know that Ford van that I was talking about, the front axle, that I might have to call about? Well, somebody just posted one 20 minutes away from where I was. That's like an hour and a half from where my house is. with a disc brake conversion. It's the whole axle with the disc brake conversion. One new rotor, all new bearings, with the shocks, with the leaf springs. The leaf springs might not work. We had all the bushings and all the shackles and all that stuff for it for $250. So messaged him, he was available right away. Went down, awesome guy. He's a member of the Creeps Car Club out of Rhode Island, I believe it is. He was down in Fall River, Mass. Super good guy, into awesome stuff. This thing was on the road, I think just a couple of weeks ago. He's already put 1,000 miles on the truck that this came out of this spring already. So everything's good to go. He was just switching over because he's running air ride. So he's putting a Mustang 2 front end in it, I believe, and going to air ride and stuff like that. But awesome dude, some cool toys and whatnot. But another good deal for the day. Now the deal's over. It's like 8 o'clock at night. Sun's just about to go down, and I don't know, maybe the deal's not over. I do have a $5 win and scratch ticket that I'm going to stop at some random store along the way, cash that in, and just press my luck. See if I can change that $5 into something more. If so, I'll pop back in. If not, thanks again for stopping in. I hope you guys had an awesome day.